subscribe. Tariq Radio. Like and subscribe.
Let's get Santiago in here. Mr. Santiago, hop in, sir. Santiago.
Hey, how you doing?
Uh,
I'm enjoying hearing you talk. All right. So
yes, sir.
I I'm the white guy in the room. But do you do you think, and I agree with a lot of stuff that you're saying, like a lot, but do you think that dividing between race works better for the power than dividing by like class?
No, it's all about race. No, no, no. It's all about race.
No, but that doesn't it works better, right? To divide by race.
Well,
Then
for the
because if it's by class, then people bind together, right?
no, they don't want to do it by class. Yeah, if they do it by class, the white
Then people bind together and it's bigger. It makes the section smaller, right?
no,
Versus if it's by
hold
race.
on, 'cause you're confusing yourself. So let me mute you and educate you. They have to do it by race. They started doing it by race over here. They tried to do the class thing, but that didn't work. There was something called Bacon's Rebellion over here. There was something called Bacon's Rebellion, where you had indentured servants. You had black people weren't quote unquote enslaved, but they worked as indentured servants along with Irish and English indentured servants. There was a rebellion where whites and blacks, and I think some natives got in the mix too, some Aboriginal people. They got in the mix and started to fight against the oppressive planter class, the landowners. They started to fight against them because they were being exploited based on class. All of these people got together and said, hey, wait a minute. These people are working us for 7 to 10 years. We're doing all of this work and then we're getting crumbs. So let's band together because we're poor, they're rich. Let's go holler at them. So they had a big rebellion. The rebellion got suppressed. And then the elitists said, hey, we need to come up with something different. Let's do this. Um, the white people who are poor, let's tell them that they're part of our group. And then we're going to treat the blacks different. So what they would do, this is starting right after Bacon's Rebellion in the 1600s. If the black indentured servants did some kind of infraction or they ran away, they would give them very severe punishments. But if a white person did it, they would give them a slap on the wrist. So they started to let the white people know, hey, if you do something janky, you're not going to get punished like we're going to punish this black guy. We're going to really punish this guy. But we'll give you, a little slap on the wrist. And that was fine to a lot of the white people, right? They're like, hey, that's cool. So my white skin gives me certain benefits. Yeah, I'm poor. I'm living in a trailer, but I get certain benefits by being in this new club called whiteness. So that's why they have this thing. It's on race. They can't put it on class because you need the poor white masses to toe the line for white supremacy. The poor white people are the biggest white supremacists out here. It's them trailer park, heel have eyes, head lice, wet dog smelling rednecks are the main ones who maintain white supremacy at their own detriment, while the white elitists who hoard all the resources exploit them. You understand? That makes sense, Santiago? You here, buddy? Well, Santiago, you here? Might be a double mute. Sometimes there's
Yep. All right. Are you there? Yeah. No, no, that makes sense. And actually that was kind of what I was kind of getting at is like there's there's strength in class, like lower class, middle class, all that stuff fighting. But if you can divide those classes, and like you were saying, if the if a power class can make even the lower class on their side, a portion of it, then it's better. Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I've never actually heard it kind of described that way.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. But I'll tell you this, Tariq, it doesn't make sense either because it's really stupid in a way, right? Because it just doesn't make sense. But that's the way it is.
Right.
That's the way it is.
Unfortunately, it doesn't make sense, but we're on the bad end of the stick as black people because we are victimized by these white supremacists with this weird ideology of oppression where they've made white skin a royalist class, meaning the royal class cannot be punished or they cannot be reprimanded. So yeah, but that system is going to die out. But it is what it is. Let me get some more people in here. Let's get Felicia. Oh, no, physical. I said Felicia. No, it's physical. Physical Bitcoin. Physical Bitcoin. Hop on in.
How you doing, brother?
Hey man,
It's
how are
been a long time since I've talked to you.
we talked before?
Absolutely, I've talked to you.
Okay. Under the same name here?
You know, the thing is that, you type of people, you think that you're so special,
Really?
but you're not.
I'm not special?
No, you're not.
How dare you?
The thing is that the type of people that
I am special. Let's get that shit straight. I'm a foundational black American. I come from a lineage of people who built this land and made it habitable for you to flee the slums of Europe to come over here and eat and get that head lice off your ass. So I am special. And you're
no,
welcome.
no.
You're welcome. You wouldn't be over here if it wasn't for my specialty and my family specialty of building a beautiful nation, sir. We are very special. And you got your ass on that boat and brought your ass over here to the special people, sir. Right? Go ahead, physical. Hop on, physical. I don't have you muted, sir. How dare you say that I'm not special? I am very special, sir.
You 100% had me muted,
All
and I just got unmuted.
now,
Let me tell you, sir,
tell me, sir.
that I'll tell you, sir, that the way that it is that we have lived for hundreds of years in disagreement about how things are and how things aren't. And what we are living in now is a life that we can actually not live in that way anymore.
Now,
And
why,
that is what Trump is doing with Elon being an auditor to the government agencies and the IRS now. He's going to take on the IRS and audit the IRS and see what they're doing and, see what everything else is going on. And
now,
what, well,
hold on, slow down, because you babbling. You're all over the place. Now, what is this stuff about we ain't special? I wanted you to elaborate on that. Then you start going in.
oh, well, no, you're not special. Just because you're black doesn't mean you're special. Just because I'm white doesn't mean I'm special. Just because somebody's Asian or another color doesn't mean that they're special. Like, what? Why do you all?
Well, damn it, your whiteness was treated special because you had something called Jim Crow, which was an affirmative action program for the white supremacists. So you got special treatment.
Yeah, well, so what?
So no,
Yeah, well,
so what my ass? We need to be compensated because y'all treated us with special victimhood. Yeah, y'all gave us special treatment for oppression. Yeah, y'all made us special. Y'all specialized in violence towards us. You specialized in lynchings towards us. You specialized in destroying our damn communities so that you can feel superior. So yeah, we need special compensation, don't we?
I mean, I think that I think that a lot of things that have happened in the past are absolutely.
His meth pipe dropped on the phone. He'll be back in 2 or 3 seconds. His meth pipe muted the phone. I didn't mute him. It was a double mute. And why you got a black fist up? Get your fist back white. Don't give me black.
Look, dude, you totally muted me. Don't talk shit.
It was a double mute.
No, I'll say, look, I totally understand that, like, the whole slavery shit was up.
Then
But
compensate. Then give compensation.
well, look. The thing is that, you know, you guys have got enough compensation, in my opinion. I mean, through all the government agencies, all the shit that's been going on for,
Like,
100 years. You guys have been getting compensation. You guys got enough compensation through social services and EBT, and
EBT my ass. Y'all get more damn EBT.
it's not.
Don't project. That's y'all get all the EBT and welfare. Y'all love talking that EBT shit. The welfare capital in America is Owsley County, Kentucky. It's a county that's 98% white and 98% of the people are on welfare and EBT. It's an all-white county.
Regardless,
It's nothing. You guys get the most welfare. You get the most per capita because y'all love that per capita shit.
regardless, end it all.
Oh, no, y'all ain't gonna do that because it'd be hungry hillbillies running around here robbing liquor stores and stealing mayonnaise. So no. So to miss me with that. And welfare was created for white women in the 1930s. They created.
Well, let's see what happens.
Miss me.
Maybe they'll go get jobs, and if they don't, then they can.
You sitting over there in a Section 8 trailer too. I hear that Section 8 trailer echo. You ain't slick. You sitting over there with that motor in the front of your damn house. Let's stop playing. About to drive over to your meth dealer in your trailer. Stop it. Anyway, let me get some more. I don't want to hear this mayo.
Actually, let's.
Actually, nothing. I don't want to hear no more goddamn mayo babble. Some goddamn EBT out of here. See, they never have no real logical argument against reparations. They get into this dumbass projecting and mayo babble. I really wish black folks please don't let these people run that welfare shit on you. The white supremacists, these are the biggest damn welfare recipients on earth. Boy, they are the welfare kings and queens. They stay with some goddamn food stamps and EBT. Don't let these people fool you. They stay up on some Section damn 8. All damn day, dude. And middle America is just full of Section 8 hillbillies. The hell out of here. Josephine, hop on in here.
Fine, thank you, Tariq.
Hey, beloved.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, dear.
Thank you. My name is Josephine from Kenya.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm living in Kenya, Mombasa. And I want to contribute towards the agenda which you've just raised about how about the USAID funds.
Yes.
The truth is that it doesn't mean that Africans cannot live without the USAID money. The truth is that we reciprocate each other. In Africa, we have been having so many minerals, which also the Americans have been using it to process them. And it's normal for any social being. Human beings are social beings. And that's why we've been trading in different locations. But when one person feels like they are better than any other person, such that they are more superior than the others, they don't need the others, then that's a lie, because we all need each other. And if I remember very well, one of the agendas of President Donald Trump was to make America great. And human being a social being, there's no way he can make America great when already he has decided to withdraw without notice the funds of other countries whereby other diseases which are communicable will also be communicated to the Americans.
Thank you, beloved. I can't understand shit she's saying. And much love to her. I respect her passion. I respect the sister's passion, but a lot of it is just kind of difficult to understand. And that's no disrespect. I like to give my global family a voice, but I couldn't understand shit. It was all over. She's rolling the Mars. Trump was to make America great again, and these niggas are taking the minerals all in the land, and we're going to do it together. No one is thinking they're better, but they're greater than others. So, okay, all right. I respect the passion, sister. We're just having some difficulties understanding that, sister. But shout out to Sister Josephine. It was just kind of difficult to understand. The real Jr.
Hey Tariq, what's up, man?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Hope you're doing well tonight.
Oh,
You have actually made like you've opened eyes to reparations. Honest to God, like I've heard the speech for it, obviously, but you laid it out in plain sight. I just feel like it's a political, like in California, right? They they ran that Californians were to get reparations, and then they didn't receive those reparations, so it was a political uproar.
yep.
But you made the point that I actually live in a hillbilly place in southern West Virginia,
Mm.
yeah, but I'm not that hillbilly. I'm not that guy. I promise you.
Oh,
I'm not, but because I live in between two counties, and or sorry, McDowell County is predominantly black and a very poor region with health care, and just the mortality rates are higher, much higher than all of the U.S. And it's very sad for really everyone in the county, but the black people, the African Americans in Welch, West Virginia. It's the melting pot. But my question to you is, how could this? Do you see a future where this would pass? Because I mean, it's not a horrible idea the way you laid it out at all.
oh yeah, yeah.
It's real.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's going to listen. We're going to get reparations. It's not a question of if. It's just when. We're absolutely going to get it. Um, Everything that we as foundational Black Americans, anytime we set our mind to something, we make it happen. It's the right thing to do. Also, reparations. That's going to boost the economy. It's going to boost the economy, and we really need that right now because so much of our money has been squandered. Our tax dollars have been sent to USA, to all of these foreigners and the Ukraine and all of that stuff. And we, as foundational Black Americans, we're going to boost this economy with our reparations and make America great for real. We're going to make it great.
Well, so how do you determine who exactly gets the reparations? I mean, what is the age of the average recipient of the reparations, and what are you supposed to do with that money?
Great question. First part of the question, the people who are going to get it are foundational Black Americans. That means people who are descended from freedmen. The second question, what we're going to do with the money, is called none of your goddamn business. Why do we need to tell you what we're going to do with the money?
Well, that's a fair assertion, but I think that in the event, if you can make your argument as to why you should receive the money, and then what you then do after receiving it, I think would make a much more compelling argument.
But they don't ask the Native Americans what they were going to do with their money. You didn't
Well,
ask,
I understand that, and that's a fair assertion as well.
right. This is what I'm saying. You didn't ask Jewish people what you did with the Holocaust money. You didn't ask the Japanese what the hell they did with that internment camp money. Only with us, there has to be this spying. You just got an assessment of what we're going to do because there's a threat. This thing, if we get equal footing, there's this subliminal threat that we're going to take over. And that threat shouldn't be there. We should just be compensated because we were stripped of resources. We were deprived of resources. We built this country with free labor, and that was never compensated. So we need compensatory justice.
Do
And
you think that reparations could come in the form of the removal of a lot of the red tape and incentives and tax breaks for new businesses, startup projects for communities, rather than just a check cut out for individuals, say like the Native American population?
right, that's what we need. We need it just like the Native Americans. They don't do all that janky stuff. The Native Americans get checks. They get checks, then they get all that other stuff too. But they do get checks. Then they get casinos. Then they get tax-free status. I want our reparations to be set up the exact same way. We had a Freedmen's Bureau that was supposed to be for intangibles and reparations for foundational Black Americans, set up at the same time as the bureaus for Indian Affairs. The Bureau of Indian Affairs still exists. The Freedmen's Bureau, that was, they phased that out. So we need the same thing and the same compensatory justice as the red natives got. We need the exact same template, but more because we suffered more, right?
Well, I can agree with that, but I think the polarization, the state of the polarization that's in the United States currently, is that I think the typical understanding of individuals when they hear that there's a particular demographic that's requesting, monetary compensation for an injustice or a series of injustices that have occurred, in the past. If you say, well, we just want money, I think the onus is a little bit on the individual making that argument. And I think it could be strengthened and bolstered by coming out and clearly identifying what the money is, where it comes from, and where it should go, and to show that this money is going to directly positively impact, you know, the, the dream, in which that you have for that money and for the community as a whole.
But the thing is, the money's going to come from the federal government because that's why we were enslaved. We couldn't get out of slavery because of the federal government. The justification for it is because our people, we built the wealth in the entirety of this country was built on the labor of our people. Slavery was
But
the main.
do you think that, and I don't mean to interrupt you, I am interrupting you, but do you think to a certain extent when you say it like that, I think when you phrase it like that, when you say that the entirety of this country was built on the backs of enslaved individuals, I think to a certain extent that can kind of rouse a little bit of frustration in the same people you're making an argument to that you should have these reparations come your way. And I think that it kind of pushes people off. And I think outside of just being tribal enough, as people typically tend to be, I think that they become defensive and it gets tuned out a little bit. They shut off and then they want to fight and argue. Do
Right.
you find that? Yeah, okay.
But the thing is, what they do, they try to minimize the contributions. They'll try to say, well, yeah, slavery was a little something that happened over there, but yeah, there was other great things happening, and there were all these phenomenal immigrants building the country too, which is a damn lie. And then they use all of these other lies to justify not giving us reparations. Then they start talking about, well, the Chinese, they were building up railroads too. No, the Chinese built less than 700 miles of railroad. We did most of the railroad work in this country, all of the infrastructure. We are the foundation of this country. So we have to tell the truth and remind people of how important our presence was in this country. So if they get uncomfortable about that, well, they're uncomfortable with the truth, and that's a them problem. That's their problem. That's a them problem, not an our problem.
Well, yeah, and that's certainly frustrating. I think that there's a few other interesting points maybe that I would, assert. And I think one of the other major issues that's plaguing particularly the Black community at the present moment is the fatherless household issues. And I think the welfare state.
And Orwellian, could I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Are you aware of the fact that our federal government, and Brother Tariq can correct me, actually paid reparations to the slave owners?
I was not
They
aware of
took
this.
tax dollars and they actually paid reparations to the slave owners. Am I correct, Brother
That's
Tariq?
absolutely correct.
So my whole thing is, this is the whole thing that I don't get. It's like you guys get so asphyxiated about making the country whole and doing what's right. But at the same point in time, they sit here and embolden with their own tax dollars the very elites that keep them in a chokehold. There used to be a guy in pro wrestling called the $1 Million Man, and his finishing hold was a sleeper hold. And they say the American dream, you have to be asleep to believe in it. We have had opportunity costs robbed about our people simply because of the color of our skin. Whether it was the 1790 census in terms of us being considered property, and all you had to do to get land and to get incentive to come here and to be a citizen was be white and be a Christian. That was it. It had nothing to do with your IQ. It had nothing to do with how skilled you were. It had nothing to do with how moral you were. So when you handicap people deliberately and you practice economic Darwinism, and then when you get your opportunity to get wealth, all they do is give you Christianity and speculation. And I find it kind of odd, like a previous gentleman that was in here talking to Tariq, he fit the stereotype that I say he had a whole bunch of crypto gobbledygook on his profile. So they're able to get you guys with these Ponzi schemes thinking that you're going to get rich. You know, a whole bunch of people went out west with gold fever thinking they were going to get rich. And it's like because they're so inept and they're just knuckle dragging cavemen that are easily manipulated. These very, very rich, elite, intelligent people just sell you a bunch of hope, and then when they pull the rug up under you, when they pull the rug up under you with the stock market, when they keep dangling a few carrots in front of you, instead of thinking they can always other someone else. So they've used this as a scapegoat. But here's the problem. The middle class is shrinking. That little Pac-Man mouth, that's like the 20% that they've allowed y'all to have, it's about to be sewn shut. Our people who help give you opportunity, right? Opportunity cost, because we basically were the labor force and the generator for these elites that gave you guys jobs. Well, guess what? They're like, white privilege is too expensive. See, they got rid of their white trash in Europe because it was about Catholics and Protestants, right? They said, what do we do with these people? We don't know what to do with them. They're complaining. So they sent you over here, right? And once they sent people over here, it was the same problem. They said, okay, you know what? These people think they're going to become part of the blue buds, part of the establishment. We're going to give them somebody else to hate on. Well, guess what? The whole country's built. The wealth is maldistributed. That's what racism, white supremacy is. And I'm gonna say it again. You guys are at a crossroads where you have an opportunity to do the right thing. We're not even really part of the middle class. We have less than 1/2 of 1% of the wealth, which basically means if you took 100 pieces of candy, you've taken one Tootsie Roll, bit it in half, and told 40 million people to share it. And then we have to sit here and listen to people complain about not only the elites, but how somehow white people are suffering. You've been given every opportunity. You've been given homestead. You were given FAH loans.
Well,
And
so why don't
listen,
we
hey, hold on,
reduce? And I apologize for interjecting.
during no, don't apologize. Just listen. During segregation, our dollars were not segregated. So we essentially paid reparations and paved a way for you guys. So here's my whole point. If you don't want to help save America, that's what you need to understand. If you pay us reparations, you're going to save America. Because if you don't, you're dumb and gullible to think Elon cares, Trump cares, all these other white billionaires that you've helped enrich, they don't care about you. They don't. If anything, they're about to take the property. They told you life, liberty, and pursuit of property. It wasn't happiness. Well, guess what? Who's going to buy up all the property? And once all the property's bought up, it's like we don't even have a piece of the American pie. All we got to do is hear you guys complain about how the pie tastes. It's our mothers and fathers that developed the recipe. And I'm trying my best not to use profanity on my brother Tariq's space, but you people make my colon pile. To be honest with you, most of you are trash. And you only need two pallbearers at your funeral because a trash can only has two handles. I'm tired of hearing you babbling. I'm tired of hearing you complain. You sound like Hitler on soy milk. You guys are very beta and angry. And then you wonder why you got all these women jumping ship because they got to sit here and be with somebody who complains all day about the Jews having money. They're complaining what the Negroes say they want. But at the end of the day, they're asking you, like, but you've had every opportunity known to man. You're in a country that was built to benefit you. And somehow you have people who don't go to these PWIs. It's not like they're a race of people who are these geniuses like Vulcans, like they're members of Mensa. Half of you guys aren't even fit to be a Walmart greeter. So they allow mediocre white men to become police officers, mediocre white men to get these government and state jobs. And as soon as the opportunity comes for you to actually compete, for America to be a team, we got to listen to white people whine and cry. I don't mind you whining and crying, but when you have low-key threats of being violent, see, I pay attention. And then other than that, when people try to be what I call
Well, what are the threats?
deflecting, hold up,
What are the well,
deflecting
you're
deadbeat.
unpacking quite a bit, and so I'm just clarifying.
It's a lot to unpack when we have to listen to you guys bullshit us for the
Well,
last 150 years. I'm gonna keep it real,
but
and
it's
this is
very
just me.
accusatory language, right? Because you're making a consortium of assumptions on who I am and how I think and what I do on a day-to-day basis, right? It,
No, you're making the mistake of thinking that this is about you as an individual, and that's why America's going to fail. We're talking about everyone as a collective, but you know what? You actually just highlighted the very point. That's what they want you to think. They want you to think, Orwellian, that you're special, that you're this one guy that can beat the odds, and that the rules don't apply to you. I'm sorry, buddy. We're all in this together. We all pay taxes,
right.
right,
So
to the
let's stop
same
paying
government.
taxes.
Okay, okay. Now I want to go back Orwellian, and thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Robbie. Orwellian, you were like, you went into the whole. Well, it's really fatherlessness in the black community. Did you go there?
Did I go there?
Yeah, you start
Well,
talking.
I was only thinking, and I don't think that it's solely, a black community issue. I think it's a tremendous issue that's plaguing Americans as a whole. I
What does
think that.
that have
I'm
to do
sorry.
with reparations being paid?
Well, I just think that there's quite a few things that are going on that need to be addressed beyond just the reparations. You
Really?
know,
Like
I,
what?
I well,
Because
I think.
because reparations is about correcting economic deprivation based on racism. So our problem is white supremacy. We don't have any problems that we have trace directly to white supremacy. That's either correct or incorrect, right?
Well, so say there were reparations paid, and those reparations went to do startups for small black-owned businesses, and were to give better school systems for black communities, so that young black children can be educated, and bring their education up to the standard, the national standards, which is a pretty low standard at the present moment. Not
Why?
very happy. What's
Okay,
that?
why go into it? Why is the standard so low?
Well, I think that there's a lot of bureaucracy. I think there's a lot of red tape. I think there's a lot of government waste. It's absolutely abhorrent. The banking crisis is out of control. The issuance of debt through usury is terrible.
Okay, slow down. Okay. If the rates, learning rates for black children are so low, why is it not low for white kids and others? Why is it low for black people? Why is the red tape and all the bureaucracy only affecting black people? What's unique about the black situation? Go ahead, Orwellian.
Prior to even 1960s, in George, um, prior to even in the 1960s, prior to Jim Crow, I think that the black community was targeted. I think they was targeted by the government. I think they went in, they put crack and other bullshit in black communities. They rounded up all of the men. They left all these women to fend for themselves with their children, and they had no financial means to take care of them. They were forced to go on government assistance. Things were revised in child support bills to bring in and right that deficit that the welfare system was causing. And then I think that in recent years, there's been a lot of incentivization for black women to kick black men out of the home, and they're having these children grow up in fatherless households with no leadership, no guidance, no direction, no protection, no role model. And this cycle, 2, 3, 4 generations down the road, has absolutely decimated the black community, and now it's even infiltrating other communities as well. And I think that's primarily what's causing a lot of the issues in the public school system. And so therefore there's not as much money pumped into these diverse communities, if you want to call them that.
Right, right. So you have admitted that black fathers in many cases were deliberately targeted.
Absolutely. that
Right.
that was that was just the start, because it's like, well, first they come for, the Christian. Well, I'm not a Christian. Well, then they come for the black guy, and then I'm not a black guy, and then, right, and then finally they come from you for you, and there's no one left. And they've systematically divided us on race for so long, because it's easier to pit, poor white people and poor black people, and have a racist black guy and a racist white guy just fight and argue all the time, rather than going and fighting these people that are sitting in the ivory tower, pitting us against one another and stealing everything that anyone has at this point.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, this is why when you brought up the whole fatherless thing, yeah, we're still dealing with white supremacy. And by the way, the black fathers are in the home. In fact, the CDC, they had a study saying that black fathers are actually more involved in their children's lives than white fathers. You understand? And also mass incarceration, that was something we get over policed by the white supremacists. White fatherlessness, that's increased in the white community majorly.
It has increased because the deficit is so large in the black community, because generationally we've been putting young black men in prison, right? You grow up without a father, you find a gang, you start doing hood rat shit, and then you get locked up because you're a danger to society. And they run around, and then they have children prior to being incarcerated for doing dumb things. And it's gotten so out of control that there's just a history of intergenerational fatherlessness and intergenerational poverty. And it's so bad that the deficit continued to grow, because you can't go after a man that's incarcerated for gunning down some guy for wearing a different color hoodie at the corner liquor store. Right? You can't go after him for child support because he's incarcerated. So this debt continues to rise. And so what do? Then they ramp up the feminism. Then they ramp up getting white men kicked out of the house because, well, at least they're still working at the moment. And then they start coming after the white men to write that deficit by incentivizing women with unreal child support benefits. We're completely destabilizing our country by destroying the family unit. And it started with the black communities, and it's moving on to all of the other communities. Like
Oh, let me unpack what you said. So basically, there's a deficit in white society because of black people's criminality.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the government overreach is ridiculous. I'm saying that they targeted the black families and they absolutely gutted them by making intergenerational fatherness a thing and creating a massive deficit because these men are incarcerated for whatever reason they may be. They're unable to pay the child support, so that debt's got to go somewhere. So then those who pull the strings decide that feminism is now going to be a thing. And then the white community is now affected by the same thing, so that men of the white communities get kicked out of their homes, and then they can be paying these egregious child support claims.
So you're saying that white society is paying child support for black people?
I'm saying child support should never have been initiated, and they should have never went out after the black community in the first place. I'm saying there's a debt that exists. It's not the black community's fault. It's not the white community's fault. It's the powers that be. It's their fault, and they did this systematically. They didn't come for everybody at once. They're segregating us. They want to do one community at a time, so that they're pointing the fingers and fighting over the scraps between amongst one another.
Let me get my brother McCall in here real quickly. Brother McCall? Good brother, how are you, sir? Oh, McCall, well, yeah, brother. Oh, McCall, what happened, brother? Okay, I'm gonna get him back. We don't hear you, brother. There was a little issue going on there. We'll get you back in a second. But yeah, I don't know, Orwell. It looks like you're using the black community as an excuse for why white society is struggling now. It
I'm saying we're all screwed. I'm saying that they're coming after everybody, and it's not a conspiracy. We know this. We know the Women and Children's Social Security Act of 1971. We know why it was implemented. We know that the CIA was running drugs into black communities. We know, remember that documentary Reefer Madness of the angry, scary black man that smoked the marijuana and the white woman scared?
right.
It's all that shit, right? It's get the black guy off the street because he's scary, or go to the other side of the road. It's that instilling of the fear from one community to the other, right? And then the gentrification issue in the opposite direction, which I'm not saying doesn't happen. It most certainly does, and
Lando,
it's just.
let's get Lando in here.
What's going on, Flex? It's your boy Lando. How you doing,
I'm
brother?
good, man. How are you?
Man, I'm over it tonight, man. It's it's too late for this. So I'm about to talk to my white brothers and sisters that's in the building and the chat tonight, because the common theme is people is coming in and they like, yeah, we understand the reparations. Actually, Tariq, this is not too bad. It actually kind of sound good. And like the brother, that's on here speaking, you're like, okay, I acknowledge it, but why can't we work together? This is how we work together. You got two things. Number one, this is what I need from you from now on. Number one, start calling out white supremacy. Start doing that. And number two, start hosting them, start doing spaces like Tariq doing. Start rallying, start doing everything, and start promoting reparations for Black Americans. Foundational Black Americans. If you guys are not doing those two things, calling out white supremacy and leading the march for reparations for us, it's basically a waste at this point, because all you're doing is saying, oh man, we just need to get on the same page, we just need to work together. Yeah man, we got the elitists. That's how you fight the elitists. I want y'all to do those two things, man. I land my plane, because if y'all not doing that, it's irrelevant. If I go look on your page and I don't see you out here stumping and yelling and doing all of that about reparations for us, then you're wasting our time. That's all I got for you, Flex.
Thank you so much, Lando. Let's get Brother McCall in here. Brother McCall. Brother McCall, you good? Unmute your microphone, Brother McCall, if you can, sir. Uh, we'll get him back in a second. All right. Orwellian, any last words, bro? We're going to go ahead and wrap it on up. Any last words, sir?
No, man. I mean, I just appreciate you letting me, speak. Yeah, I certainly agree that there is absolutely something that needs to be done in this country, and I don't want to derail your original message, but I think that there's a lot to be said for, kind of fixing this government bloat that we have, that keeps getting in the way of a lot of progress. I think for everybody involved. I don't know how that directly impacts the idea or the direction of reparations, but I think that as Americans, I believe you're an American. I think it's time that we come together and solve a lot of the grievances and a lot of the shit that happened, and bury the hatchet, and fight a system that wants to keep us divided. I know one of your listeners was commenting on calling out white supremacy. I have a hard time seeing it because I have a different lens. Fine, fair enough, but I don't think it's as overt as it once had been 200 years ago. I think that we've made a lot of progress, and there's progress to be coming. As we continue to march.
White supremacy is still here. It ain't going nowhere. It's still here. It's same thing. They're just being covert with it, but it's still here. We still live under systematic white supremacy. It hasn't gone anywhere. Thank you for the call, by the way. It hadn't gone anywhere. We're still dealing with it. It is still alive and kicking. And that's been the problem with us getting our reparations. The white supremacists don't want to give it to us. Nush, I was going to get Nush in here. I was going to get Nush in the building, but Nush bounced. Let me get Shay in the building. All right. Let me get Shay in the building. And who is this? African Journey. Okay, so let's try Shay, and then we'll try African Journey. Shay?
Yeah, what's up? You sound real low. I don't know if it's my phone or what's going on here. It's a lot of glitching.
Oh,
When we
really?
start talking about reparations, Twitter want to start acting up. Yeah, I see
Oh,
it. I'm going to say a shout out to the MAGA people in the house. I see they in here tonight strong. I hope you're listening. Uh, White degeneracy, of course, y'all know it still exists. But we still have to have an alliance. We still have to, this country has a debt to pay to the moral people and the background of America. We are the original Americans, bottom
yeah.
line. And
Mhm.
it's in everyone's face. You cannot turn your head and overlook it. So the debt has to be paid, and America is not going to continue to prosper like it has in the past until that debt is paid. So shout out to the MAGA, and I hope you make moves, aggressive moves, like Trump has been signing them bills to pay us our restitution. And I'll land that there. And I hope you heard me, because I couldn't hear me.
Yes, sir. I hear you, dear. Yes, ma'am.
From New York Times bestselling author Tariq Nasheed comes Foundational Black American Race Baiter, the groundbreaking book shaking up the conversation on race in America. As one of the most influential voices for Black Americans today, Nasheed exposes the tactics used to manipulate, subjugate, and control Black communities. In this powerful read, Tariq Nasheed equips you with the knowledge to resist injustice and reclaim your narrative. Don't miss out on the book that's redefining the game. Foundational Black American Race Baiter, available now at officialfba.com. Get your copy today.